Today is February the 21st, 2013. I woke up this morning and I began to watch this video wherein John Robertson addressed the Valdosta City Council. And my heart went back to last week wherein our local newspapers, television stations, and radio ignored a public meeting here in the state of Georgia. Then just a few days ago, we had another meeting, and it too, for the most part, as far as the beef of what happened at that meeting, were ignored. The citizens here in Valdosta from last week's meeting don't know that Reverend Floyd Rose stood up and asked some pertinent questions. That John Robertson, the same man who are before you, have asked pertinent questions and saying that something is seriously wrong here in Valdosta, Georgia. The president of the local chapter of the NAACP, Lee Touchton, stood up. But that was not news to those who are in control and groove with those who are not in the movement with the people of the majority in this city. And it is time now for the black preachers, the commanders and wing commanders at Moody Air Force Base, those in leadership at Wiregrass Technical College who want people to continue to come to Valdosta to attend schools and higher levels of learning. It is time for those who are at Valdosta State University who want people from around this country to come to Valdosta to go to school. Those who want people to go to Wild Adventures theme park. Those who come to Valdosta believing that Valdosta is a metro city that is good and honorable, with statesmen that are working to improve the conditions of all the children in our school system. We are tired, as you will hear John Robertson say, and as you would have heard Reverend Rose said last week, if we were like Sumter or America's Georgia, who have newspapers that tell what happens at public meetings. The news media in South Georgia will not tell you that there's a restricted area at the Lowndes County Commissioners meeting. They won't tell you that at a public meeting at the Woodrow Wilson Library that they got you in a 8-foot long, 4-foot wide blue line that all the news media must fit their cameras into, and other citizens who want to record this public meeting in the state of Georgia. They won't tell you or report that we've had 31 jail deaths from 1994 to 2009, and from 2009 to present, we don't know how many jail deaths there are, as if though our news media are participants and orchestrators in this top secret plan of keeping the people of Valdosta, Lowndes County, and South Georgia in a box of incarceration, of indoctrination. And so it is time now for the preachers, the teachers, the leaders, and others, and the mothers and the fathers to stand up against our local newspaper, to stand up against TV, to stand up against radio, and say we demand to know what's going on in our public meetings, or close the doors to your institutions. It's not just good enough now for us to just talk. I talk with the professors at their homes, how they talk about how bad our local news media here in South Georgia is, and how they squash the real news and report what they want to report. They tell us here in Georgia that we're in the land of the free and the home of the brave. In the Lowndes County Jail, the Justice Department, the governor of the state of Georgia, the representatives here in South Georgia, they all report so they can use us, make us all deaf, dumb, and blind to the times, and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts. So we must ask a question: why are they doing this to us? Why are they doing this to us while we take our sons and send them off on foreign battlefields to die? And I do mean die. In Iraq, Afghanistan, in Vietnam, in Germany, in Russia, and other war-torn areas that we don't know nothing about. And you know this, They know we got our females, the mothers and the fathers living in the old part of the jail where they are living in inhumane conditions. You can't say you don't know about it because I've shown you videos of it, yet you don't say nothing. And what's wrong with the followers of Jesus Christ? What's wrong with these megabucks churches who put on a collar and a robe and stand up on Sunday morning and talk about they love Jesus Christ of Nazareth? It is time for change, y'all. It is time for change. It is time for us to stop playing these satanic games. So on Sunday we rush off. Sunday morning we rush off. On Saturdays we rush off. On Friday evening we rush off. On Wednesday evening we rush off to Bible study. But we can't study the lessons that are in our community, the lessons that Marcus Garvey left us, the message that John Brown left us, the message that Martin Luther King left us, the message that the founding fathers left us to stand up for our republic. Are we going to lose it? Talking about free speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of the press. Press what? Meeting over there in Brooks County, July the 17th. You all saw it on video, but the Equipment Free Press didn't report it. The Valdosta Daily Times didn't report it. Your TV station didn't report it. Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp sent a representative from Macon, Georgia to hear the cries of the people, but you don't know nothing about that because he never got back with us. It's time for us to start telling the truth. If we can send our sons and daughters to die on foreign battlefields, then what the hell is wrong with us now? I watch Ruth Council and Mr. Council, and I watch others who go to the Martin Luther King Monument and sit down and dip, duplicate, imitate, and placate the good life of that man and his legacy. But you don't hear them talking out on issues like Reverend Rose did last week that the South Georgia news media just totally ignored and said the people here don't need to know that junk. So we're not going to publish that junk. That junk he talking. As if though they don't care about our children. And then when our children commit crime because there are no blacks in positions, real positions in Valdosta High School, and they won't report that. Yeah, Reverend Rose talked about that, but they wouldn't publish that. They wouldn't publish nothing about the real selection process that Reverend Rose talked about. They didn't say nothing about what this same man you're about to listen to, Robertson, spoke at City Council, at the school board meeting last week. Lee Turchin spoke. But what did you hear? You heard nothing. Because they don't want you to know. They want every citizen here in Valdosta, black, white, Christian, Muslim, Jew, and others. They want to keep you stupid. They want to keep you ignorant. They want to balance and half truth. And time somebody commit a crime, they put them on the front page. But the President of the United States of America, they'll put him on the front page with garbage and trash. Trash. Our elected leaders here in Valdosta from both governments will go to the conservative radio station and give them a prelude into what happens at these public meetings, but they don't do it in other communities, and so you have a discriminatory elected government in Valdosta and Lowndes County. They're discriminatory in that they don't notify all of the people. Professors from VSU had talked about this over 4 years ago, about making public information public to all of the people. But they won't do it. The old 1860 charter mentality. Let me repeat. God allowed me to see the old 1860 charter that was displayed at City Hall here in Valdosta, Georgia, that read, in paragraph 100, section 11, and they didn't want to remove this charter. Former Mayor John Freddy didn't want to remove it. And there were some old whites on the council. They good men, honorable men, look like statesmen. They wear suits at city council, but they didn't want it taken down. But thank God for somebody with the right heart removed it. How do our children feel when they come to City Hall and read such a disgraceful document? And at this present day, when our children come from J.L. Newbern, Pineville Learning Center, Valdosta State University, and all around, and go to City Hall on the first floor and look down the hallway, they'll see one picture of the Tuskegee Airmen, and then they look at all these buildings here in Valdosta, Georgia. Nothing is represented in the black man. Our children don't see nothing about black buildings, nothing about a black church of the 1800s, as if though we was not even here. And these black preachers sit down and act like fools. These preachers, these attorneys, the judges act as if though the black man in Valdosta, Georgia didn't contribute to the well-being of the city. Where are Jesse Jackson? Where are Al Sharpton? Where is the Justice Department? 31 jail deaths, human being dead. Approximately 60 or 70 people have died in the jail, I'm just guessing, and nobody seems to care, yet they play these games with us. This is the news. This is the news. This is the news. This is the news. This is what we report. This is what you need to know. Nah, we know better than that. I put 20 years in this man's army. Put my life on the line to die, only to come home to see what I see today. You better wake up. John Robinson, Reverend Rose. I wish I could call more, but I can't. So, Robinson have been standing up a long time, and he don't bite his tongue. Let's see what he said, and see if this same thing was brought up last week that the Valdosta Daily Times editor Kay Harris didn't publish. No. This is not criticism. No, wait. This is not criticism of anyone. I don't like to do that. But what I like to do is what Jesus said in John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set and make you free. Now my question to you is, did you hear anything last week in the Valdosta Daily Times about the Board of Education meeting that took place? Did you hear anything in the article or read anything in the article yesterday about what took place at that board meeting that was pertinent to the education of black children and getting away from the good old boy status quo of 30 to 50 or 100 years of domination and disrespecting certain levels of people that came from the low economically oppressed people? And it is time for the preachers and followers of Jesus Christ, Muhammad, and others to stand up. Listen please. As this honorable black man, a minister of Jesus Christ, when others sit down by the pool of Siloam and won't even get up, when the doctor comes, they still sit there and just keep getting people money talking about, I'm following Jesus, while our children are going to hell and can't get any of the economic power. Let's see what Dr. Robertson have to say to the mayor and council this morning. Listen, please.
Association of Small Businesses, and we're also a minister at the First Hand Missionary Baptist Church, and also a member of the NAACP on the Fairtown Chapter. From here today, to tell you, I informed you guys that they filed a federal complaint.
He said that he filed a federal complaint. Now, in many cities that I've been to across the nation, that would be a part of the newspaper the next day, because they wanted the citizens to know what took place at a public meeting in that particular state. Now, America's Georgia got about 5 or 6 newspapers. And so if one don't report it, the other one. But there's a monopoly here in Valdosta by somebody. It's somebody behind the curtain, door number 3, that's keeping us in a state of bamboozlement. Listen, please.
And practically we will find that, but I didn't resort to good for Gatorade. And how convenient it is to buy Gatorade from this hardware. How convenient it is for you to get cameras. But we're dealing with something way more drastic than that.
They purchased cameras. They bought other things. And so he commended them for buying the cameras. Just like Reverend Rose the other night talked about the school system. But no news media was there to report it to you. And so you are dumb. You are ignorant. And you are blind to what took place. Because they don't want you to know. I've proven that over and over again. And going to continue.
And the analysis with the impediments and the claims you have projections, it seems as if we have difficulties in understanding that sometimes we don't realize the problem that we have in our communities. And we see a whole lot of problems. We do have some major obstacles. And Mr. Carroll, he said in one of the meetings that it's going to take quite some time. It might take a year or more. Mr. Vickers, I commend Mr. Vickers for his position he's taken, Mayor Neal, for the position that you've taken. And we do have a lot that we have to do, and we got to get something done. We need some money on the south side.
He says that we need some money on the south side. We understand that Scruggs and RHYNES going to benefit in the building of this overpass. As you travel Highway 84 West, I want you to look and see the foreigners that's working on that bridge. I want you to go, or as you travel the asphalt and drive in different trucks in Valdosta, I want you to see who's employed. They talk about immigration, but I want you, outside of the church, outside of the preachers, outside of the teachers, outside of the traditional leaders, I want you to watch. I want you to watch the men and women that are working, who can take money back to their families to take care of their school children, so their children won't be breaking in the convenience store because their mothers and fathers are employed. Go to the city annex and look at the disproportionate number of black. Just look at who's employed. Go to the county commissioner's building and see who they done employed. And then go to the Board of Education and see who is the superintendent. And they tell us about who is the most qualified. We understand qualifications. In the 50s and 60s, black was overqualified to use the bathroom, to eat in the restaurant. So we understand your qualifications. I Love Lucy didn't have no blacks on it because they wasn't qualified. Bonanza didn't have no blacks because they was not qualified. Tall Man Gunsmoke didn't have any blacks because they were not qualified. The Anna Griffin Show, The Edge of Night, Days of Our Lives, and The Secret Storm, and other things that you, Deputy Dog and Underdog and Popeye, they didn't have no blacks because no blacks was qualified. The qualifications then and the qualification now, according to Reverend Rose, if you look at what he said that was excluded from the newspapers, the new qualification is that you still got to be white in order to be on these programs. Look at your TV shows and see how many black actors do you see. Wake up, America, and ask yourself, what in the heck am I going to church for when our preachers and our teachers and our doctors and our nurses and our people like Brother RHYNES just playing a game before the sun go down? Listen, please.
There's no fairness in this. It's been going on too long.
He said there's no fairness in the system. This is nothing new, but you don't know nothing about it because Valdosta don't have a newspaper. Valdosta don't have a TV station. Valdosta don't have a radio station. Valdosta don't have mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and little children who will stand up and say, to hell with this. We can do better. If we can send our sons and daughters to fight and die for the people in Southeast Asia and the people in Kuwait, and our sons and daughters come back all beat up, shot up, and brain dead and messed up in the head, and we still don't care, and yet we want to go and talk about we going to heaven to Jesus. You think Jesus is going to accept those kind of people? Just because you go to church every Sunday with your nice cars and your nice clothes? Brother Robinson say something wrong here. Robinson say something wrong. Rose said night before or last week something is seriously wrong. I said something is seriously wrong. Rose said the other night something is seriously wrong. But what did you read about it in the Valdosta Daily Time on channel 620, say Martin, or any other radio station? You didn't hear it because they don't want you to know. They know like Jesus know, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth gonna set you free. So they don't want you free, and so they don't want you to have it, and so they keep it secret. Like some of the third world communist nation. We better wake up, or we gonna lose this republic. It's just that simple.
First, take the impediments that you had. read basically like the same one that you got now. That's obviously something badly wrong in the city. Too one-sided. We all need to sit down and come together. We don't need to come to no bloodbath, no fight, no big battle. But we do need to sit down.
He said we don't need to come to no bloodbath. But if people are pressed to the wall and our young people don't have no confidence in the law enforcement, they don't have no confidence in the judicial system, they don't have no confidence in the defenders group up there, they don't have no respect for what happens out there in the old part of the jail when their mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers are living in inhumane conditions, and everybody just sit here and act as if though we are in paradise, and people come back with talk about the spiders in the jail, rats look like cats. You done heard it all because this ain't nothing new. And we just sit back and dip, duplicate, imitate, and placate, and we still want people to come to Valdosta State University and tell them how good Valdosta is. We got to tell the truth about Valdosta, so when our sons and daughters from other states come here, they won't say, "Daddy, you lied to me." Well, somebody got to tell the truth. Valdosta is a beautiful place to live, home of Moody Air Force Base. We can do much better, but we can't do it until truth comes. And Jesus said it best: no freedom without truth.
We don't need to go out and get other black companies and businesses, churches, and organizations that you can use to manipulate to come in to try to meet the answers to the impediments. We all want to be involved. We all need to get some real answers. It's going to take a lot of hard work from a lot of effort that everyone got to put in. Our communities are run down, they're ragged, and there's no money. Everything that's around that's here is gated communities, and everyone is looking real good. In this analysis of impediments, it states something that amongst the white children, the probably raised 2.6%, amongst the black children, it's 50.6%, or something like that. Those numbers are too staggering. When you come down to the income, the average white household is $38,000. The black household is less than 20. It's too staggering. It's too one-sided here. And it's got to be changed. It needs to be changed. I do believe that if we come together and try to work together and be straightforward, we don't need no beating around no bush. We don't need no playing no different games. I found out the hood itself, when I went down and sit down with the official hood, found out that it's a big game you played all the way around the block from the governor's office all the way down through.
That means the people in Valdosta connected with people in Atlanta. And we've gone and talked to Miss Priscilla. We talked to others in the hood off at 20 Marietta Street in Atlanta, Georgia. We have filled complaints out. They get these grants. They get CDBG grants. James Wright, Councilman Wright rather, and other people on the council know that the money is not being handled right, but they don't say nothing. Riot's got to know it. Miss White, everybody got to know. You got to be worse than Ray Charles not to know that there's something wrong. And all you have to do is go over to Troop Street, go through the black community, and yet they getting all these federal dollars. Let's get back to this brother. Let's get back to this beautiful brother. I thank this brother for being unlike other ministers who just go along to get along. Listen, please.
It boils down that these money that be involved for these grants is allocated for the low-income people, and using it to get the income when it comes down to the issue. Sometimes the money be misplaced and misused by some degree or some angle. And it always ends up nothing is getting done. We got streets here in our city that like Troop Street over there that's got these gutters and no work is being done on the land. We want to talk about the contracts and how.
All this was brought before the elected officials here in Valdosta. The Valdosta Daily Times editor Kay Harris, the leaders of the local TV stations, and I mean plural, the leaders of the radio stations, and I mean plural, didn't say anything. So we got a lot of professional people here in law enforcement, in the legal aspects of our community, business owners, mothers and fathers and wing commanders at Moody Air Force Base, visitors that come to Wild Adventures theme park, those that make and build Georgia Military College, Francis Lake Golf Course, and Kinderloo Golf Course, all these high and respected people. But it is as if though they don't care about the negativity that comes through what people see every day in our community. It's like as if though there's a tree that fell in the forest and they keep telling the majority of people in Valdosta and Lowndes County in South Georgia that the forest don't even exist, let alone that a tree fell. Yet we are standing around the tree in the forest and watching them tell the lie. And then they don't want us to tell the truth so the world and the outside world can see that they are liars, and that they are squashers of the truth that we want in Southeast Asia and in Afghanistan, in Kuwait and other places, and Iran. But we don't give a damn about our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, and so we just let them do what they want to do.
By contractors, it's a whole lot of issues we got to try to get resolved. But I do believe if we sit down and begin to come up with some solutions and try to help find some real solutions, instead of going out trying to get groups to manipulate this group, to manipulate that group to reach their agendas, we need to get something done. And we need to get it done on a factual basis. I'm not going to quit pursuing it if we have to take from Pennsylvania Avenue. But whatever the case may be, we need some money on the south side.
White America might as well accept the fact that we are teaching our children to continue this struggle. There is no end to this. We don't care how Councilman Wright sit. We don't care how Councilman Yost sit. We don't care how Mayor Gale sit. We don't even care how Larry Hanson sit. And we've sat with him many times, only to waste time. Deidre White is a white Caucasian. She's over a black district, and I think they're going to get rid of her in the next election. They don't like what is happening, and I think that this will be her last term. I don't live in that district. I'm just passing the word on to you because I don't want you in a state of ignorance. Councilman Payton, Councilman Norton, Councilman Carroll, and Councilman Vickers. Vickers is a black councilman. They all know what the deal is. And so we're going to say to them, somebody needs to listen to this brother. Somebody should have reported and published what Reverend Rose said, because this city is on edge. I repeat, this city is on edge. Make no mistake about it. It is what it is.
If we work together, we can get something done. I really do believe that. And I'm trying to encourage all the council members, Mayor Gale, Mr. Vickers, I'm trying to encourage you guys, please take under consideration that we all want to be involved, not just a hand-picked manipulated group. Thank you.
And so it is, and so it was. This is George Boster RHYNES. If I have lied to you, please call me on the lie. But if I have given you the truth, then why don't you count me as your friend and a real friend of Jesus Christ? And if a man or woman say they love Jesus, or love Muhammad, or love the son of Abraham and Yoshabel Moses, or say they love Buddha, and then they hide truth from you and claim to be your friend, tell them that the Bible says that they are a liar and the truth is not in them. For John 8:32 says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set and make you free. And if they don't want you to have truth, that means they do not want you free. And that means they do not want to see your children advance. That means they'll choose a superintendent and exclude you from the process. We already was under a court order for over 40-some years. They don't seem to care about certain segments of our communities. And they seem to believe that their Jesus, not our Jesus, they seem to believe that their God, not our God, approves of what they're doing, while they sit there and act as if though we are ignorant and cannot read, write, and do arithmetic. What say you, the American people? And what say you, the good people here in Valdosta?